Obamacare. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Stupid people are ruining America.
The president just wants to take care of you. He just doesn't think you're able to do it for yourself.
There's a very thin line between communism, progressivism, Marxism, socialism.
The empire will strike back.
You still don't know that this was political.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of America Our Way. I am your host, Dustin Hoyt, here on Vigilant Liberty Radio. Hope you've had a great week. Hope you've all been enjoying yourselves. Hope all is well. Hope none of you were in that taxi that got hit by the plane in Taiwan. That would suck. I don't know if y'all have seen this video or not, but it is quite possibly the most remarkable thing I've ever seen. Imagine driving down the highway, and then just out of nowhere, a jet. And you're like, oh, that's flying awful low. Oh, God! Oh, God, no! And it just hits your car. It's one of those things where it may just be your time to go. When you are driving down the highway and a jumbo jet's wing crushes your car, it may be your time to go. Now that could just be me being sentimental or drawing on my religious upbringing, but I think probably if you're crushed by the wing of an airplane as it flies through the sky and you're driving on the highway, you're probably done. It's probably you're good. That's it's your time. I mean, lucky that guy didn't die. I mean, very lucky. But I can tell you right now, perspectives would change. I can't believe it. It was. That's crazy. If you haven't seen it yet, look it up. It's been on the news everywhere. It's astounding video. The guy's lucky to be alive. He's lucky there was more people on that road as well. But yeah, moving right along here. If you're not in the chat room, you should be. For those of you who are listening live, vigilantlibertyradio.us/chat. You can interact with me during the show, give your input, comment on things. I might share them here live on the air. It's been known to happen. And it's a lot of fun. I usually don't have the Twitters up during the show. I usually stick to the chat room. You Twitter folks just have to mosey on over here to the website and do that. We got a great show today. Got a lot of stuff planned out. A lot of things on the agenda. From those of you who see the title of the show, you can tell vaccines, bombing in 2016. What do they have to do with each other? Lots of things. Lots of things. Namely, just big things that have been circulating in political circles. Just people have been talking. And I don't know if it's just they're anxious for another election, just the politicophiles, the political addicts like myself, have nothing better to do, and so we've latched onto these couple of things. 2016 is always a favorite, because these polls come out every once in a while, and we're like, oh my god, this guy's getting ahead, who'd have thunk, who's going to be next, I don't know, and we should prepare. But it is interesting because we're going to talk about it, and interesting things happened. I don't want to spoil it, but Scott Walker is a big name, and we're going to be talking about him a lot tonight. I want to start, however, with the good stuff. I'm going to bust out the cohiba of topics tonight right off the bat. I want to talk about vaccines. Now, I know that so many of you have been participating in the vaccine debate. A lot of people online going back and forth about it. You've got anywhere for government protect me to I'm not sticking no government needle in my kid. And it's all over the place. I mean, you've got hippies saying, oh, we just need to be natural, man. And then you've got the concerned parent who's like, this is our kids. We can't have diseases running rampant throughout the country. I don't want my kid to get measles, herpes-gonorrhea, rumple AIDS. I need people to protect me and my family. And it's been interesting all around. All around. It's just debate everywhere of various ideas and how people think. And I always find that so fascinating because when somebody voices an opinion on something, you can generally see their train of thought. You can kind of see, where they're coming from. And I don't mean that in the figure of speech sort of way, like, oh, that's their opinion. I mean, like, how did they get there? How does this person tick? Are they a massive hypocrite, or are they a fascist, or are they a freedom-loving American, or are they just a douche? You don't know until somebody starts talking about their opinions and how they came to that conclusion and asking questions and all kinds of stuff. And the vaccine debate has been very, very fun in that regard. And I say that because you can have some of the most freedom-loving people in the world. They're like, I think we need to end the Fed and school choice, but please make all these children get vaccinated. Oh my God, I'm so scared. I don't want to get a fever. And I've seen it everywhere, all over the place. And what's funny is that you've got conservatives who's like, we got to keep all them immigrants out, put up the brick wall of Texas. Big government folks, and then they're like, you can't put that government needle in my arm. I'm going to decide what goes into my body. You're going to give me autism. And, we can get into the nitty-gritty of what's true and what's not. But really, it's just, there's so many people that are good on freedom issues that are just so backwards and regressive and stupid on vaccines. And it just kind of blows my mind. And granted, a lot of these people are healthcare they think is a right, or a lot of them, they kind of support Obamacare a little more than they should, more than is sensible for even the Obama supporter. But, that's the world we live in. So if we start getting into this, my favorite element of the debate, philosophically speaking, on vaccines is whether or not people are hurting other people by not vaccinating. And that seems to be the question. That's the kicker here. Do you actively hurt someone when you don't vaccinate your kid in the United States of America? Well, I did some homework on this, and when you whip out the Google and you type in a few things, that makes you an expert. But from what I've read, and I'm not a doctor, but I do know a thing or two about statistics. 3 out of every 1,000 children worldwide get the measles. We're just talking about measles because of the outbreak, quote-unquote outbreak in California. 1,000 out of every 3 kids, 3 out of every 1,000 kids get the measles worldwide. It's less than 1%. It's less than 1% of people worldwide, including third world countries, including the Philippines that has a real outbreak right now. They still only have 3 out of every 1,000 kids getting the measles. Worldwide, that's the average. Of those 3, an even smaller, like 1% of them die from the measles. Now, there are complications that can arise from the measles, like brain damage and deformities and all sorts of nastiness that can come from the disease. You could get all kinds of scars and etc. infinitum. But I think it's important to note that the rate of contracting it worldwide is 1%. Just that's being generous. They say between 1 and 3 out of every 1,000 kids. So let's say 3 out of every 1,000. You're looking at under 1%. You're looking at 0.3%. 0.3. So then, these people freaking out about the Disneyland outbreak, saying, oh, almost 100 people have gotten the measles in the U.S. this year because of a trip to Disneyland. So it's all traced back to one dude with the measles. Now, some of these people in California got the measles from not vaccinating their kids against the measles. Now, when you're looking at just that example, that somebody came to the U.S. or and that seems to be the likely story that's put out the most that I've seen, is that it's likely a guy that traveled to the U.S. Somebody traveled to the U.S. with the measles and brought it here, because it's very rare for somebody in the United States to have the measles. It was eradicated in the year 2000 And the cases that pop up here originate from Eastern Pacific nations like Indonesia. So, when you look at the strain of the measles and they're like, oh, this is the one that's going on in Malaysia right now or Indonesia, you know that that's not a domestic case of the measles. It was brought in. It's not something that just, it was creeping around in Wisconsin and some kid with the measles came in, don't you know, and he gave it to my unvaccinated little hunk of cheese. Now he's upstairs in bed. Don't you know? Go Packers. And we've kind of encountered this situation now where people are freaking out, absolutely freaking out, just losing their minds about kids needing to get vaccinated. They're saying, oh my gosh, there's going to be an outbreak, zombie apocalypse, it's going to come roaring back, and all these anti-vaxxers are going to die from the measles, and they're going to give it to everyone. Just pump the brakes real fast. Because when you've got the two issues here, when you've got anti-vaccination and you've got the actual government enforcing vaccination, we are not talking about the same thing. I know that sounds confusing, but bear with me. Somebody does not have to be anti-vaccine to not want the government to force people to get vaccinated. I can't make that any more clear than it is in that statement. Just because you don't want government involved in forcing you to do things for your health does not mean you are anti-vaccine. As of right now, in the United States of America, vaccinations are voluntary. And as of right now, in the United States of America, 99% of the